Yeah.
Yeah.
They looked okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna Alan's. My computer.
She starts banging.
Read
I thought Alan got in trouble. I was like, Alan,
Marie's just been sending me stuff here.
you've never been mad at
Connecting with the cities.
Oh, she sent out February 3rd and February 17th. And I read them and now, but I couldn't find anything.
No problem.
Yeah.
No issues or anything. So that's good. Typically, it appears to be a short meeting. We'll probably end up.
2 hours later.
I know.
right.
You never want to say, oh, it's gonna be
Yeah,
short.
famous last words.
No, I'll be home in about half an hour.
That just jinxes us. Jinxes that one. Always have a computer problem.
We're having mouse difficulties. Sorry. We'll get it figured out and then we're ready to go.
And then
Are you worried? No, you're just fine.
Right on time.
we're just
Yeah,
waiting
that's
for
right.
some
We've got
technical difficulties.
technical difficulties.
Trying to get everybody else tapped in here so that everybody can see and hear and everything. I'll have to chat with them.
It's a view only though. They can't,
Oh, there you go.
they can't talk. It's on YouTube Live. Or no, it's Zoom, I guess.
Yeah, but when we did it during COVID. and we-
That one is, but a regular one.
Your computer. Okay, I think we're good.
Ready?
Almost good.
Oh, almost good?
We gotta have it. We gotta get the recording
Oh.
started back here and then we're good to go.
Okay.
Look at this agenda.
My daughter's on her planning and zoning. Oh, okay. We can begin. Welcome to planning and zoning. We will start out with a pledge by Dwight and a prayer by Kenny. So
Please follow me in that pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, please, we're grateful that we can be here in our planning commission meeting today. We ask you to please guide us to make good decisions that will benefit our community and that will be pleasing to our members of our city and to those around us. And we say this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
amen. Thank you. We'll go on to the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I would so move. We adopt the agenda for May 5th, 2022.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Me? Oh, Dwight, you need to pull your mic. Okay, did you get all that? Dwight and Kenny, Marie?
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go to the minutes. We have minutes from February 3rd and February 17th. That's all I saw. Is that right? Okay. We need to have a motion to approve the minutes. If you've been able to look over them.
I did look over those. I moved to approve the minutes from February 17th. Is that
3rd and
3rd
17th.
and 17th
Mhm.
as sent out by Marie?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Hey. Thank you. Spencer, any follow-up on previous meetings?
Yes, a couple things. So a couple subdivisions, one being the log cabin subdivision, which is just south of the bigger Smiling H subdivision on 600 East. That was approved by the city council last night in last night's meeting. They made the changes that were recommended by the planning commission, got rid of that
Road.
cul-de-sac specified on, so, but they did approve it. Then the other one that was heard in planning commission was the Beck Farms subdivision by the Yonkers that included that park and 9 lots in the 1 acre zone. That one was reviewed and discussed for a little bit with regards to the park, road, future road, trail, and in concept was approved as well with just some minor details to iron out on exactly where the road would go through and how to preserve developability to the east there, but that one was approved as well. The Smiling H subdivision was on the agenda last night, but the developer's still working on getting a couple outstanding items. So they opted not to attend or consider that. The developer pulled out and decided to wait for the next meeting.
Okay.
That's it as far as updates.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's move on to item number 1. Consideration and possible recommendation of a concept plan for Charleston Place. Spencer, do you want to tell us about this?
Yes, I'll step you through, and it's Clarkson Place.
Clarkson.
You correct me if I'm getting that wrong, Chris. Yeah, you can rename it as you go. So this 2.17 acres, it has come in front of the planning commission at a rezone that didn't go through. It is zoned for R112. This concept plan sticks with that original zoning. So there's no rezone required, no public hearing, and it will allow the developer to have, I think, up to 7 lots, just pure zoning wise, with the width of the lots. When you lay it out, it gets you to 6. So it'll mirror pretty much what's on this north side of the parcel. It's this 04059-002. So I'll jump over to the concept plan. It's fairly straightforward. This is the application, sorry. Fairly straightforward. There's not really much room to do anything different than what's shown. So the road here is proposed to be a private lane. The reason for that being with the location being where it is, there's backyards on this other side of the road. It wouldn't need to be like a typical cross section with sidewalk on both sides.
Oh, okay.
So by doing it as a private lane, they can just make sure it meets code, but modify that cross section a little bit. And then the subdivision in the future would be in charge of surfacing and snow removal, things like that. But they could have the cross section be a little bit better suited for the area. They have the road come up and curve, so it lines up with this intersection, which our staff has looked at and agrees with or approves on that front, and just has 6 lots, much like to the north. And then the turnaround they're going with is this hammerhead turnaround. That's one of the options in the approved International Fire Code fire turnarounds. So in this case, where there's not the room to do a full cul-de-sac, where you kind of only have half, this is a much better option as far as turnarounds go. So that's what they have shown on this. In this case, all the lots shown here are over 12,000 square feet. This is done density determinant. So they could go down to 10,000 square feet. They might shift some of the lot lines a little bit depending on if there's stormwater or anything like that, but they would stick with just the 6 lots as is. So a fairly straightforward concept plan. And just a reminder that as a concept plan without a rezone, this is an administrative decision. And really what this sets is just the basic layout, number of lots, basic layout of the road, the details, and they've shown more detail than most concept plans, I think, because it's so simple, but some more detail will come down the road, like stormwater. There may be a little bit of stormwater to catch, the secondary irrigation system, And I've already talked with the applicant about a lot of these things. They already have plans for it, but they'll get it drawn up in more detail when we get there. So that's a basic rundown on this subdivision.
Spencer, I was going to ask you, I noticed on the application that it said the water master meter to service the 6 lots, sizing determined by engineer. Is that similar to the Aspen Meadows subdivision where they've just got the 1 meter for the whole HOA?
So there is a master meter for the whole HOA in Aspen Meadows. We haven't gone into too much depth. This is kind of a rough stab at plans. I'm not sure, Alan, and on Jordan's end, if that's typically how we'd want to see it, is a master meter in this case, or if we'd want to split it up. Very good response. It's because it's a private drive.
Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe talk about that.
Why?
Yeah, we can go back to that. Yes, thanks.
Mhm.
Just curiosity, what's the red line around, kind of cuts through the,
Right here.
yeah, that one there. Mhm.
This is just the property boundary line in general. So it's this.
And
This one here.
so do the lots extend beyond the property line there?
No, that's showing the lots to the north. So those
Oh.
lot lines are going to line up essentially is what that's depicting.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
yeah, they'll line up with those.
So it's an overlap then basically.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
just
the
showing
red-
some context.
Okay, so the red line that we saw is comparable to the yellow line we're seeing right there now.
Yes, yep, that's the
Correct.
property boundary. Yep.
Okay, and then what about the, at the hammerhead there? And also, well, it goes back out to the street again, but it's, is that a curb or what?
Right here.
Yes, that line there.
That's a sidewalk right there. And we can probably work with them. I don't think they necessarily need this going around the hammerhead. They probably want to just stop it here is my guess. But that's showing sidewalk, which is more detailed than we usually have in a concept plan. I think it's just because it's a small, easy subdivision to draw up, but that would be sidewalk. And then that would connect into the existing sidewalk. They'd only have it on the one side, like I said, because the other side is just fences, backyard fences.
Right. And the little small section of land as it's lining up with the other street there, yes, that's going to be drainage or?
I don't know if you have any ideas for that one, Chris.
Just it'll be part of the swell for stormwater. It'll be, we probably won't need it, but to where it lines up, we'll just make it a swell and put rock in there.
A French drain or something, perhaps?
I don't even, the engineer will kind of determine all of that. I don't think we'll even need to do much of that. I believe there's corrugated storm drains running from south and north. But that will be, the engineer will determine all those. If we need to tie into anything or not. If the swell doesn't have any capacity to take all the stormwater it needs to.
And it's probably too much detail for the concept plan yet, but there is an agreement or it's in process for secondary water with the water canal
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah, so a water conservation plan would be required. And in this case, that would mean seeing the secondary irrigation system. I've already talked with Chris a little bit about that. He's got a plan as far as where that secondary would come in and how to deliver it to the different lots. He'll just have that lined out and shown the basic detail of that in the next application. So.
And one final question for me, at least, what's been our experience with and history with private roads?
Yeah.
In the city boundaries?
You know, I think they've been useful in specific situations. So we have a few different areas with private roads. Aspen Meadows is a one that's easily recognizable. You've got Brookhaven, that senior community has private roads. Heritage, the senior community back behind Pioneer Valley Lodge, that one has a section of private road. I think in some cases, They make sense. I think the thing we try to make sure and ensure at the beginning is that there's some sort of agreement or organization set up at first with regards to the maintenance of that road. This becomes a bigger issue in the case of a large private road subdivision like Aspen Meadows. If they're not collecting enough to maintain or replace the roads eventually, and sometimes it's not always clear to associations how much they need in that case, where the city has to deal with that all the time, then that can sneak up and be a large cost. Where it's 6 lots, we'll just make sure that Chris has something that he can get recorded at the same time as the plat. That's a maintenance agreement that basically outlines how costs are split up among lots. If there's damage, when the time comes to surface for snowplow, and we won't necessarily tell them exactly how that has to be split up, but just we'll make sure that there's something in place so that 10 years down the road, we won't have somebody in the subdivision needing the city or the subdivision itself without any way to repair the roads and calling the city and us having to tell them good luck. So that's really kind of the only drawback. I think on a large scale, it's just more difficult. But here, especially where it's a dead end, it won't go through. It needs to be a little bit modified, the cross section. I think it makes a lot of sense.
How does the fire department, oh, sorry, Nan, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kay.
I was just gonna ask, how does the fire department feel about a private road of this width with the hammerhead at the end? Is that a concern for them?
Yeah, so as long as it meets the minimum fire code standard, then that's all they're looking for. So private or
Okay.
public, as long as it's going to be accessible and meets the minimum standard, then they're going to be good with it. And the hammerhead, as long as it meets the correct dimensions, they're going to be okay. With this being a smaller width road, we'll just need to make sure it's A, wide enough, and B, I don't know if we'll need to look and see if we need to make sure people don't park in a way that blocks it off for fire. But we'll definitely run it in front of John Keller for his thumbs up on it as well when we get to that step.
So just out of curiosity, so with this type of road, so the houses there have to pay like an HOA, they have to pay to maintain this road. Is that correct?
Yes,
The lots?
I would assume so. I mean, I would guess that's your plan. You just have a fee assessed periodically for maintenance in like snow plowing, or maybe there's just a maintenance agreement where they do it
Okay.
themselves and surfacing and whatnot. So there'd probably a little, some sort of group. I don't know if it's going to be organized as an HOA or some
But
other.
something to
but
gather the
something.
money so that they know that the city's not taking care of this.
Right. And we'll make sure something to that extent is recorded. Again, the exact method, we're not really too worried about how it's
Yeah.
done, but just that it's taken
Just
care
that
of.
it gets done. Okay.
I do have one other question. I
No,
apologize.
go ahead.
But with the road up against the back property of other current residents, and this is maybe more of a concern in the wintertime, is there enough distance between the edge of the road and those existing fences or property line that a snowplow throwing snow won't create a problem with the other residents or perhaps damage to the fences of
On fences,
people?
yeah.
I just,
Yeah, no, they've got 4 feet there, and a lot of that is there's some swale. Also, there's some grade difference from south to north that'll pick up. So they do have the 4 feet, so that should help in the
4
initial
feet,
pushing
okay.
when you've got your pile going to the side. I would imagine, and I haven't driven a plow truck, Alan has, so he can maybe shake his head and correct me. But I would imagine they're going to push this all the way to the end here, and most of the snow is going to end up somewhere over here, if I'm not mistaken. And they might even back up and just push again or flip around. But I would guess 4 feet is going to be enough. Do you think that'll be enough space? They would just start slowly.
and it won't be a city snowplow though. It'll probably be a
Pickup truck.
Somebody.
pickup with 4-wheel drive and a Boss snow plow on the front of it kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay.
Any other questions, concerns? We're ready to make a motion? I think, do we have a consensus? Yes, no, what do you think?
I guess I don't see anything. So I'm still trying to get my head around the procedure. So the concept plan, if it is approved today, we come back, there's another round of a more detailed plan after that.
Yes,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
this is a recommendation. So this planning commission will make a recommendation, positive or negative. Then that'll go to city council in their next meeting where they'll approve it. After that's approved, Chris will get a little more detail on there. Again, not much. Mostly it'll be irrigation lines and some other things. He's already got utilities and some things shown on here. And then that'll come back. He'll resubmit for the next development plan application and it'll come back in front of you
Gotcha.
again.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion that we make a positive recommendation for the concept plan of the is it Charleston? or
Clarkson.
Clarkson, the Clarkson
Just
Place
say concept.
concept plan. Yeah, okay, concept plan.
All right, it's been moved and,
I second the motion.
okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we make a positive recommendation of the concept plan onto the city council. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Great, thank you. Let's go to item number 2. Spencer, you want to walk us through that one?
Yes. So I will pull up our city code as well. So this is an application for a kennel permit. And just to clarify what that means in North Logan City Code, because it is a bit confusing at times. Essentially, our baseline number of dogs that any one residence can have is 2, and 4 cats with any combination of those only going up to 5. That's the basic numbers. There is an allowance to have up to 4 dogs at a residence if you get a kennel permit. And that is a conditional use permit. It is administrative action by the planning commission, so it's not changing anything. So as long as it meets the code, we look to approve those. But it does have some specific conditions on there that I'll pull up right now. And then I'll look over the specific application here. So this is the dog kennel to allow up to 4 dogs. So there's a application and a fee that was submitted in this case by Christy Downing, who's in attendance here. And each dog is required to be licensed. Essentially, when this conditional use permit is considered, you look at the zone in which it's proposed. In this case, it's in the RE1 zone, and that is an estate zone that does allow for kennels. Some of our residential zones, especially in the smaller lots, don't allow for a kennel permit. This one does. The size of lot, the proximity to neighbors, any structures in the back, the number of dogs, and then the permit will clearly state the total number of dogs. Then there are some conditions here on revocation if there are issues. Now I'll talk through kind of the specifics on this one. So Christy, the applicant, is looking to have the 4 dogs, which is the maximum allowed. She lives in the RE1 zone, has a good sized lot there, ½ acre plus a drainage in the back. These 4 dogs are also smaller dogs that are kept inside. So there's no outside structures. So you don't have the issues with dogs escaping or things like that. Also, they're quiet, well-behaved dogs. I think they've been debarked as well. So they're Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. So smaller breed, 4 of them. I can flip over here. The application was submitted, the fee paid, and also a letter was submitted as well. There's a kennel. 2 dogs are registered, and if there's a kennel permit, they'll be able to then register the other 2 dogs. And they have some pictures, which I think would just to brighten up the meeting as well. Again, smaller dogs, not a significant impact to neighbors or anything like that, all indoor, all debarked. So because of those conditions, staff does recommend an approval. And as a conditional use permit, just a reminder, this doesn't go on to city council. Planning commission would approve or deny the application. Staff recommends approval.
Great, thank you. Any questions, anybody?
Yes, I have a couple, and this is maybe the second time we've had it, at least in my tenure here that we've had this, but first question is the approval of a kennel license conditional upon the owner. In other words, if the home were to be sold, then it's null and void.
Yes, in
Correct?
this
It
case,
doesn't
Yeah.
stay with the property.
yes. So in this case, some conditional use permits stay with the land. This one does not. So if the owner moves and somebody else comes in and say, instead of 4 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, they have 4 Great Danes
Right.
that really love to jump fences or something, they would have to come in and get another kennel license. So this wouldn't open anything. This is just for the current owner and the current piece of land. If Christy was to move to a different lot in the city as well, she would reapply for that particular piece of land. So it runs with it has to be the same owner and land as well.
Okay. And you mentioned one of the other issues or question I had, and that's, is it also, we're licensing this based upon, I guess, a type of dog that's going to be there under the current, but if it indeed they decide to have another kind of or a breed of dog, then as long as they only have 4 dogs, be it Great Danes, 4 Great Danes, they're still okay.
Yeah, so that
under
is
the
true.
current permit.
Yeah, so
request.
this permit is just the number. It's not tied to the specific dogs. That said, the thing about a conditional use permit is, I think one of the primary functions of it is that once it's established, it's a good way to track and keep in touch with the homes that do have more animals. And if they become an issue, which they rarely, if ever do, I think maybe we've had one in the past whole time I've been here, we can look to take action at that time. So if something changed drastically, which I don't think is the plan at all from the applicant and talking to Christy, we could relook at that kennel permit and modify the numbers or revoke it if absolutely necessary. Again, I don't anticipate that being an issue in any way in this case, but just something to note in general.
Last question for me, and I think anyway, is what about neighbors? Do neighbors need to sign off, need to be aware of, or?
No, not in this case. Some of our conditional use permits require a public hearing and a certain radius of people that need to be noticed by mail. Yeah, we do have a few different conditional use permits that require that. In this case, it's not as much of an issue as far as noticing.
Okay, well, I guess there is one other question. That is, there are currently 4 dogs in the house now.
Yes. The current owner, so the applicant Christy, moved in very recently. So moved in from out of state, wasn't aware, came to license the dogs, and then was made aware of our 2-dog, 4-dog limit. So these aren't dogs that have been living there without a kennel for years and years, just kind of under the radar. She's tried to get things in order as quick as she can since she moved here. And there have been no concerns or complaints to this point either. So,
boy, that's what we don't like as a good citizen, who's trying to do things right. No, thank you very much for that. That's great.
Any other thoughts?
Dwight
Okay,
had all the good questions, I think. So.
that's great. I think we're ready to approve the conditional use permit. We need a motion.
I move to approve the conditional use permit for the kennel.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second that we can approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, good. Those are cute little dogs. Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll now go on to any staff business discussion. Spencer?
Yes, I have a couple things. So the first one being just a couple notes on water. So I know that there's going to be a newsletter item sent out by I think our water department, Zach, is helping write that, along with the mayor is looking at it as well. There will be water restrictions starting out on culinary exterior water use, just 3 days a week, I believe. And then they'll continue to monitor the situation from there. It is going to be another tight water year, just looking at our water sources to this point. And we have ground collection water from up in Green Canyon. We have wells also. Zach they're being very proactive. They've raised the water tier rates primarily for institutional and commercial. They felt like they raised the rates on residential, or tiered the rates. I think raising is the wrong word. They added tiers. So by usage, if you use a lot more, you'll pay more last year for residences, and actually saw a really good response from that. So as you're talking with neighbors and whatnot, you can let them know that for the most part, people responded well and brought usage down on the residential level. I think getting commercial properties and institutional properties in line with that was one thing they were looking to help them carry their weight also in the water conservation. But we'll keep you updated on that situation as we go along, and just always keep reminding people to try to conserve where you can. I did go to a conference somewhat recently, the Utah League of Cities and Towns, and there was a presentation by the Utah State researchers up at Utah State that was very interesting. They have test plots of turf, and they watered different test plots one time, laid down water one time per month through the whole growing season. Some of the test plots got a 1/4 inch laid down all at once, one day a month, one day in the month, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. All of them, she showed pictures. It all kind of went dormant, looked dead, all popped back up in the fall. Not saying that we should tell everybody they need to let their lawn go and be yellow and brown, but just reminding people that your lawn will bounce back. Keep an eye on it. Don't overwater through this time is going to be helpful. Keeping in mind that residential use has done really well. We'll just have to keep it up this year. Along with that, the water, as you know, we've been working towards infrastructure, and just wanted to share Lindsay and staff worked really hard and did a great job to find potential sites for our water storage. And they were able to acquire a piece of land up here on the bench. It's officially in our name, so we can break the news. This is King Park right here. And the city has purchased this parcel there. And it's right situated perfect on the contour lines for us to be able to put in a water tank or reservoir for storage. The exact spot, the timing, we're still working on that. We're going out to bid and hopefully getting contractors begin to dig us a new well really soon. We had a lot of people come back with bids on that. But just to give an update there, this piece of land also has a stretch of where the Bonneville Shoreline Trail would go. I think there's already a trail that's kind of used or has been used not by permission in the past from the previous landowner. Now the city owns it, and we do have a grant to work on that shoreline trail. We'll probably look to formalize that. So it was kind of a good on both fronts. So Lindsay did a great job coordinating that. Alan, the rest of staff also. So just sharing some good news there. A lot of this land's really steep, but I think we'll find some good ways to use that land along with water. So
Good.
Yep. The other thing, just to note for next meeting, and Nan already expressed she's not going to be here, it's going to be a workshop with the city council. We may have some other actionable items first on the agenda. We don't right now, but I'll let you know if that's the case. Currently on that list, as far as items to talk over, the state did change the moderate income housing plan requirements. We have to choose from a different list of options. We have to pick 5 instead of 3. I figured that would be a good thing to discuss with everybody around the table at the same time before we go in and modify that and adopt a new plan. So we'll go over that. Also looking at, we've got a lot of questions from different landowners and developers on mixed use in commercial zones. And so I'm going to bring options as far as what mixed use would look like in commercial zones, what that ordinance or zone would look like. It would probably need to be a new zone and where that could go, just as a discussion point, both as, I think, to look at it instead of looking at each individual piece when developers come in, and we still probably will have some workshops looking at individual pieces. But I think if we're going to go that direction as a city, we want to make a conscious decision and look at it on a whole, and do it and plan where we're going to go rather than do individual little pieces at a time. So this is zooming out, and we can get direction based on a real possible alternative. And depending on the feeling of the Planning Commission, City Council, I can use that to inform developers, or we can explore it further or not. So those are the couple things on the agenda, as well as potentially looking at general plan as a whole, and getting somebody in to kind of talk us through what refreshing our entire general plan could look like as well, with a consultant. So that workshop, though, is a rare opportunity to sit down with City Council members, Planning Commission members. If you have anything else, no matter how big or small, that you'd like to add on to that agenda, please let me know in the coming weeks or the coming week, preferably like by midweek next week, and I can get it on an agenda to send out, and we can have that as a discussion. It's a good time to get everybody around the same table. So let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about.
Is that workshop going to align with City Council on Wednesday or with Planning Commission on Thursday?
They're due to come to us.
Okay.
Planning Commission.
So
It'll be
6:30 on
Thursday.
the 19th.
Yep, normal meeting time for us. Then the next one we do, and I think we kind of set on 2 a year, is what we settled on, I believe. Next one would be in City Council. So we'll kind of switch.
Well, I feel bad to miss it, but not bad enough to not miss it.
No worries, man.
So I just have a question,
Yes.
just out of curiosity. Any other talk about the veterinary hospital?
You know, they had a similar discussion with the City Council, and similar kind of responses. Interested in exploring it going further. Seems like an interesting opportunity. I think housing was the big question mark for the City Council, same as it was for the Planning Commission, and looking at those numbers. We'll need to continue to sit down and explore next steps with him, but we don't have an application or anything from them as of yet, or any updated plans from what we've seen last. As far as I know, though, they're still exploring it.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe for the combined agenda, maybe just a brief update on where we are with the garbage collection. Yeah, and how we're gonna make that transition.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm sure Lindsay would love to talk about it. She's been taking the lead on that situation, but we could probably get an update in options we were looking to as a quick agenda item. I'll pencil that in.
Okay, that's it. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? Then we will have a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for